Okay, this is kind of intimidating because I'm going live from my laptop instead of my cell phone, which is where I usually go live. So I would love it if someone here can give me I don't think anyone's watching it. I was going to say give me a thumbs up if you can hear my audio. I'll know shortly, and if it's not recording, I'll delete this. Um, so I haven't given an update recently about what's going on with my health. And I just wanted to do that because I actually just got done making a video for a friend in which I started bawling my eyes out, was feeling really passionately, and I thought, I want to come and share some of the insights without bawling my eyes out here in Facebook because I think it might help some other people. I've been really struggling and I've still been on a bit of a roller coaster. I have these funky, I can't remember if I've shown anyone these yet, but these are my safety goggles, which are less hideous than my old safety goggles, and I have one eye fogged up. I actually have this is like contact paper inside this eye because it still lets light in, but it doesn't let me see out both eyes. So I don't have double vision when I'm wearing this, but I don't want to wear them right now, so I'm gonna not wear them. And when I kind of look down like this, it's because I see better out of the top of my eyes. Okay, so I have been feeling better some days and not better some days, and it's been very frustrating. And what I want to share with you is something that has helped me cope with all of this, and that's the idea. And what I would love is if you apply this to any area of your life where you might be struggling. I'm going to look for a minute, see if anyone. Okay, I see that I have 7 viewers. I thought nobody's watching this. I'm going to delete it. Whatever you are dealing with in your life, however life is not like going the way you would like it to go, I hope that you can apply this to your life. This has been a massive learning experience for me because in the past, anytime I would deal with something I didn't want, I dealt with it by just really trying to resist that thing, to like hold it at arm's length, to kind of deny that it was happening and to tell myself, this is going to go away. Go away, go away, go away. And what I'm dealing with right now is, and I would imagine anyone who's watching this probably knows what I'm dealing with, but just in case, in a nutshell, I am awaiting potential brain surgery because a VP shunt that I have in my head is not operating optimally, and I'm waiting for a neurosurgeon to decide that revising the shunt is going to be the solution. I don't know if that's going to happen. But the symptoms are that I have double vision, that I have been recently experiencing low-grade headaches, which I don't even want to say out loud because it's really freaking scary. When I initially had the shunt placed, I had a headache for 3 years, 24/7, and it was very intense at points. Sometimes it was so intense that I would throw up if I moved, and sometimes it was mild enough that I could ignore the pain, but it was always there. And the other side effect is dizziness, that I lose my train of thought, and also it's 5 o'clock, 5:45 at night here, and sometimes in the evening I'm not super on the ball mentally. So if I'm a little ditzy, that's why. And then the last side effect is that it's called proprioceptive um, dysfunction, which isn't dizziness, but it's like my body doesn't know where it is in space. And I kind of have a sensation like things are moving or that I'm moving when I'm not. And it's really disorienting. So, as I have been waiting for this to get better, and it hasn't been, um, I have moved into a place mostly because of the hypnosis tools that I have learned over the past few years. One of the biggest principles I've learned in hypnosis is the importance of allowing a person to kind of go into the suck, like whatever the thing is that they're wanting to release, to let them just feel that first. And part of the reason is I believe that when a person, let's say a person is seeing you for addiction and they want to be free of that addiction. If they let themselves really feel that craving for that substance that they're addicted to right at the start, I feel like it shines a spotlight for the unconscious mind, the part of us that is responsible for turning off that addiction, for creating a new reality. It shines a spotlight that says, this is what I'm ready to fix. And I used to, when I first learned this principle, I rejected it. I thought, it's like there has to be a way out of this without feeling that. I didn't want to feel the suck. And I believe that another reason why it's helpful to feel that is because I'm going to back up a tiny bit. I believe it's a TED Talk by a woman named Jill Bolte Taylor, where she's a neuroscientist that talks about, I hope I'm getting all of this right. I think she's a neuroscience scientist that talks about the way that when we're experiencing an emotion of some kind, experiencing a sensation, it moves through the body in about 90 seconds. So if a person experiences fear, if a person experiences a craving, if a person experiences a thought that is like, this is never going to get better, I should just give up, I don't know if I'm going to get my brain surgery, this is really freaking scary. Like whatever that person it lasts 90 seconds in the body. But when we resist it, it's like kinking the hose that allows it to move through the body. Or it causes us to resisting it actually causes us to re-experience it. So it's like regenerating that 90-second loop over and over and over. So when we just let ourselves feel that thing that we don't want to feel, it opens the door to such a beautiful experience, and it allows us to then ask the question, what do I want to experience instead? So as I was thinking about, the fear that has come along with the stuff that I'm dealing with right now, there's a part of me that feels really optimistic and feels like something amazing is going to come with this and I'm going to be okay. This is going to get solved. And the fact that I'm documenting this journey on Facebook will let all the people that have been on this journey with me realize that there's hope for them in their situation too. And then the pendulum will swing the other way. And I'm like, this isn't going to get solved. This scary thing could happen, or this scary thing could happen, or this scary thing could happen. And it mostly happens in the evening when I'm feeling more tired. And it's like, I know, all of me just knows that it's not going to be okay. And then the next day I'll wake up and I'll be in a place where it's like, I absolutely know it's going to be okay. And this is happening for a reason, and something beautiful is going to come out of it. And it's not just going to be beautiful for me, it's going to be beautiful for everyone. So what I'd like to do is show you an exercise that I've been doing in the evening when I'm going to sleep and I'm wanting to just turn off that fear. um, and what I've been doing is just laying flat on my back, and I even take my pillow out from under my head, so I'm just kind of in alignment. And I don't know if that's necessary or not, but for me, that makes it easier to get in the zone. And I'm going to just peek at the comments real quick. Okay, I see people can hear me. All right, hi everybody. So I just lay on my back, and for those of you who are hypnotists or have experience with hypnosis, I just let myself get trancy. And for me, that's like having my hands separated. I like my palms down because it just helps me feel really relaxed. And when I did this the other night, it was with the intention of letting myself start to visualize a really positive outcome. But I was in such a dark, negative, freaked out place that I couldn't imagine anything positive happening. So instead, I just went through and started scanning my body and noticing sensation throughout my body. And it's really interesting because I've noticed that I'm kind of always in my head. I could feel all this sensation in my head, and that really is where things are originating. And I noticed the sensation in the spot where my shunt is, and I just thought, okay, I see you. I didn't necessarily label it as pain, and it actually wasn't necessarily pain. It was just like a tightness and a weird thing. And I just put my attention on that spot as a way of just acknowledging it. And I swear within a few seconds it started to shift and move. And then I became aware that underneath that sensation was fear. And instead of trying to shift into something positive, I just said, oh, there you are. Hi, fear. Hi, I see you. Hi. And I just let myself acknowledge the fear and feel the fear. And within a few seconds, that started to shift and dissolve and dissipate. And then I felt another sensation in the body. Here I'm like, in the body. And I just acknowledged it, and I realized that underneath that was a sense of dread or a sense of panic, different negative, so-called negative emotions. And each time I acknowledged it, it created space for me to then start to imagine a more beautiful, positive outcome. And I still struggled to start to imagine a positive outcome. I'm reading a book right now, and I know Joe Dispenza talks about this often as well. I'm reading a book by a man named Dain Heer, Dainheer, and he talks about, um, actually, that's a different book. I'm reading a book. I'm reading like 4 books right now by Neville Goddard, and he talks about thinking about the thing that we want to experience and imagining so vividly what it will be like to have it that we begin to feel the experience of having it. And so I wanted to feel the experience of having health, and it's really freaking hard to do that when you're stuck in, when you can feel unhealth in your body. So I just started to imagine there was a tiny little itty bitty spark of light inside of me, like in the center of my being, right here in Groot's throat. um, this tiny little spark, and just imagine that as I breathed, that it would grow and grow and grow. And soon I found myself in this place of just bliss, where my entire body just felt almost like that light, floaty, blissed out sensation, and there was zero pain in my body, zero discomfort in my body. And from that place, I could start to imagine what it would be like to experience this really beautiful life. And this is something, sorry you guys, this is something that any person can do in whatever problem you are struggling with, whatever it is that feels like it's out of place in your life. If you get into a place where you just let yourself feel it and acknowledge it and say hi to it, it opens a space where you could say, what would I like to have happen again? And then what would I like to have happen instead? And then begin to imagine that outcome. So I hope that's helpful to you. I'm looking over at my notes because I thought if I have a ditzy moment, I want to remember what I was going to say. When I have these moments of fear and thinking, what if this bad thing happens? What if this bad thing happens? On the other side of that pendulum is the thought, and my friend just said this to me today, like, what if something even more amazing is supposed to come from this? And there is this part of me that thinks, like, what if the reason I've decided to publicly document this journey is because it's going to spark someone else, whatever you're going through, to realize that something amazing can come from this, that you can experience restoration, and that beautiful things can transpire in your life. So that was in my notes. I just wanted to make sure I said that. Okay, the last thing I have to say is really weird. I'm hesitant to say this, but I feel like I've been so vulnerable and real that I'm just gonna be vulnerable and real in this way. I when I was getting ready to fall asleep, I think it was last night, I had this realization that I am pretty sure that I stood someone up for a podcast I was supposed to be on who was in Australia. And I thought, oh my gosh, I never did that podcast. I know we were talking about it. I feel like I was supposed to get on that podcast. And then I think this stuff started happening. I have gone through my emails. I've gone through my DMs. I've like searched all the podcasts that I've been on. I've been on a lot of podcasts. I didn't realize how many podcasts I've been on, and I'm just drawing a blank. And so I'm putting this out on the World Wide Web. So if you know, and it was someone in Australia, maybe New Zealand, but I'm almost positive it was Australia. And I just I feel like such a jerk. But at the same time, I want to put this out there. So if anyone knows what the podcast was, and I think it was going to be live streamed, so there were probably people there who were waiting for me, and like Lori just no-showed. If any of you knows what podcast that was, please let me know. Send me a DM because I haven't been super consistent about checking my notifications on Facebook just because I'm otherwise occupied. But send me a DM and let me know so that I can apologize and make it right by the people I did that to. All right, have a beautiful, amazing day. I'm just going to peek at the comments really quickly. I don't know if I can scroll through. I see Susan saying, love Jill Bolte Taylor. Craig, hi. Dolane, hi. Danielle, hi. Okay, those are all the comments I see. I don't know if I'm missing some comments. Um, I see that Danielle says, I've been doing something similar and acknowledging things in my body and talking to myself and doing lots of positive talk to myself in my body. Danielle, that is so amazing. You difference maker, you. I'm so happy that you're making a difference in this world. And anyone, if you've watched this far, thank you. I feel like this was a kind of a long one, and I'm grateful for you, and I believe you found this video for a reason. And so I invite you to think about right now where you're going to apply this to your life moving forward. Like when when is a time when you feel like heavy or down or especially negative, and how can you use this idea of just like acknowledging that feeling, saying hi to it, noticing where it lives in the body, even if you're pretending to know, it works. And allowing yourself to just make space to say, what would I like to experience instead? And then allowing yourself to start to move into that experience in a really beautiful way. Thanks for being here, everyone. Have an amazing night or morning whenever you're watching this.